Thank you. So I'm Tim Geurts from Raytheon Integrated Defense, our Sea Power division, just about 2 miles up the road here in Portsmouth. I'm currently the chairman of the board of SENEDIA, and I'd like to thank you all and welcome you all to the 5th Annual Defense Innovation Days. Welcome to Newport. So with the humidity, I'm not sure if it's Newport News or Newport, Rhode Island, but we're going to make it through. A couple of quick introductions, quick things I'd like to just recognize today again. Being our 5th year running, every year we learn things, we do things a little bit better, hopefully a little bit different from the previous year. As all of you know, this year we've partnered with Newark, and they're running their Antex event starting Wednesday afternoon with the dockside water activities on Thursday. So for those of you who are staying right through, thank you for being here and staying through. I hope you find it a more efficient and effective use of your time and your travel budgets as we're doing that. Love to get your feedback on how the execution works for you on that. Another part of these events wouldn't happen without the sponsorship. And you've all seen in the program book our various levels of sponsors. I'd like to call out and thank Raytheon and my boss Wes Kramer and General Dynamics for being platinum sponsors and Northrop Grumman for being silver sponsors. Again, we couldn't make the event run without all of you, so thank you. I can speak for Raytheon's perspective a little bit that we're in a growth hiring mode right now, and I'm sure a lot of you are as well. One of the interesting things that the governor of Rhode Island started a couple of years back is a program called the Wavemaker Fellowship. The Wavemakers are recent college graduates in a STEM-related field who come back to Rhode Island and work in a STEM field. And if they do that, they're eligible to be a Wavemaker Fellow, which makes them eligible for a state grant for 2 years toward their college debt. It's an incentive to bring the young folks back and keep them working in these important industries that all of us are in. We have several Wavemakers here today working in the defense sector. Just want to say hello and thank them for coming. As many of you know, we usually open on Monday night with Senator Reid as our keynote speaker. The Senate is in session, so he wasn't able to stay this evening. He did stop and cut a video this morning, which we'll present tomorrow morning as part of our opening event. But we are accompanied tonight with my boss, Wes Kramer, the president of Raytheon IDS, who's going to say a few words. Wes?
Thanks, Tim. And thank you to SENEDIA for once again hosting the Defense Innovation Days. Every year, this event provides a unique opportunity for leaders in industry and government to discuss current and emerging trends and the critical role of innovation to advance the technologies that America's warfighters require to safely and effectively accomplish their mission. Together, business and government represent the tip of the spear, the leading role in the quest to maintain our nation's military superiority. For that reason, the importance of forums like this cannot be overstated. This event is a critical enabler of collaboration, networking together to solve problems, improve systems, work smarter and faster, and more affordably. For generations, Southeastern New England has been a hub of innovation and recognized for resident expertise in undersea technology. This legacy continues today. Innovative capabilities produced here play a critical role in countering some of the world's greatest security challenges, from maritime threats to cyber warfare. SENEDIA's leadership has helped solidify this position through events like this, and more importantly, their efforts year-round. From workforce development to cybersecurity programs to their successful development of the Undersea Technology Innovation Consortium as an OTA, SENEDIA is an invaluable resource to our industry and a powerful example of our innovation. So please join me in giving Molly McGee and her team a round of applause for their hard work and outstanding results. Raytheon has been a part of the Rhode Island community since the days of World War II. Today, our Portsmouth is home to over 1,000 Raytheon employees and remains the headquarters of our Sea Powers business, supporting our Navy customers with critical next-generation capabilities such as the ship systems aboard the DDG-1000 destroyer, the Navy's newest and most capable SPY-6 integrated air and missile defense radar, and a full spectrum of systems that operate effectively and reliably against threats. Just this morning, we proudly welcomed members of the congressional delegation for the ribbon cutting of our state-of-the-art Combat Systems Integration Lab. Representing more than $8 million of capital investment, this lab will enable Raytheon's engineers in Rhode Island and across the country and around the world to collaborate, connect, and integrate complex systems into missions capabilities for our customers. This lab represents a hub of expertise from modeling and simulation, test and evaluation, to integration and visualization, all intended to quickly and affordably create the solutions that provide unparalleled defense against any threat from above, on, or below the water. So it's been an exciting day full of visionary exchanges, which will continue on tonight and throughout the next 2 days. Over the years, it's become a tradition at this event to attract our nation's most influential decision makers and thought leaders in national security. Our speaker tonight is proof that this tradition continues. James Hondo Geurts was confirmed last December as Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Research, Development, and Acquisition. He brings to this role more than 30 years of experience, touching all levels of acquisition, leadership positions, including most recently as the Acquisition Executive for U.S. SOCOM. As the Navy's top research and development and acquisition official, Secretary Geurts has oversight over an annual budget in excess of $60 billion and is responsible for equipping our sailors, our Marines, with superior technology and capabilities to ensure that they will always have an unfair advantage over our adversaries. At this time of evolving global threats, and as our nation reviews our focus on investing in our military, I can think of no better person to address this audience and share his insights on the Navy's vision of the future. Please join me in welcoming Secretary Geurts.
How's everybody doing out there, all right? You guys hear me all right? All right, so I wanted to give you a little insight of kind of what's on my mind as we try and deliver a national defense strategy, but I'm going to do that fairly briefly out of the respect for most of us in here. I already see the trade show back starting to affect them, so I'm not going to take a whole lot of time here. But I do want to take this opportunity to talk with each of you, because this is a great, as I look out here, a great microcosm of what makes this nation great and what we need to really leverage as we think about delivering on the National Defense Strategy. If you haven't read the National Defense Strategy, I encourage you to go download it. I've been around the building, around the military for a long time. I've seen a lot of great strategies that you could drive a truck through and don't really say much. This strategy really helps guide both what are we going to do and, more importantly, what are we going to stop doing. All right, and I would sum that strategy up on how are we going to compete and win. All right, whether that's by technology, whether that's by processes, or most importantly, whether that's with talent. So as you guys interact here for the next couple days, I would be asking yourselves as you collaborate with different team members, is what you're doing, is where you're spending your energy, is what your focus helping us compete and win. All right? If it's not, you're authorized and encouraged to stop. All right? If the Navy's asking you to do something that's not helping us compete and win, please stop and let us know. We're really trying to work on the culture here to get after it. And I think that takes maybe, I'm a pretty simple Green Bay guy here, no offense to all the Patriot fans out there. Let's see, Green Bay Packers. I think that's going to take us doing 4 things, right? And so I try and keep it pretty simple because I'm a simple guy, right? The first thing is we've got to deliver to the warfighter. We spend a lot of energy on things that don't deliver. That doesn't mean experimentation isn't valued, it absolutely is. But we've got to have the end in mind as what does this thing do for the man or the woman we've got downrange, and how fast can I get it there, right? So I'd ask you to think about delivering for the warfighter. If you're in government, are the processes we're putting on top of these things helping us deliver a better, more affordable, more effective product? If not, please stop. All right, if you're in industry, and we don't have the incentives right, please let us know. If you're in academia and there's great ideas out there we haven't captured because it wasn't invented here, don't let us get away with that, right? Be vocal about it. So our first thing is we've got to have a delivery focus. You know, the value of being at a combatant command at war for my last 12 years, I see a couple of my old peeps out there in the audience, was there was always a focus on what does it mean to the person we are going to give it to downrange, right? That the nation's going to put its blood and treasure at risk for. Focus on that. Second, we've got to figure out how to get our agility and pivot speed up. All right, I like the term agility. I'm not as big a fan of innovation because it's hard for me to measure innovation. It's kind of like a feeling. I'm not sure what it is. I can measure agility. What are we doing to increase our agility? The OTA, great example. Some of the new contracting methods we're putting on here, great example. Cooperative R&D agreements we're putting in place here at Newark, great example. The experimentation venue here later this week, great example. Those are all, I would say, hallmarks of a great community that's pulling together with all its oars, whether it's academic, whether it's research, whether it's product development, and most importantly, whether it's experience in the field. So think about pivot speed, right? If we can go 5 times as fast, we can fail 4 times and still beat our enemy to the target, right? So I don't like the term fail faster, I like learn faster, right? Sometimes you learn by failing. So we've got to get our collective pivot speed up. Third thing is we've got to drive cost out. Stuff costs too much. We cannot afford to build the Navy the nation needs on the cost curves we're on right now, right? And that's a shared ownership. Some of the cost is when we put requirements that aren't needed on there. Some of the cost is when you're not pulling overhead out of your companies. Some of the cost is when we duplicate effort, and some of the cost is when we don't take advantage of new technologies as they come out there. So first one is deliver, second one is get our pivot speed up, third one is drive cost out, and the fourth, and I don't say fourth because it's least priority, it's the underpinning for all, is how do we develop the talent to compete and win. Great examples out here in the audience, a great program in New England here to attract talent. Our industry has got to attract and retain talent. And we need to be thinking about who's sitting in this audience for the 30th anniversary of this show, 25 years from now, because if we don't have that mindset, we are not going to compete and win. And I think, you know, the one commonality I have of talking to everybody in booths is everybody's fear is talent. Everybody struggles to get talent. Everybody has a hard time finding talent. We got great talent in VA. We've got great talent in new up-and-coming students. We got great talent in some of the old heads that have been around that we got to rejuvenate, right? But it's not going to do us any good if we can't figure out how to all collaborate here together. Actually, the first time been here, I actually really like this because it's small enough you can actually have meaningful dialogue, but big enough you can have an impact. So what I'd ask is at the end of 3 days here, have an impact. Don't just come for the show, don't come for the free beer, don't come to hear some suit up here talk, right? Figure out, if you can, how to have an impact and deliver for me one of the 4 things, or if you're really good, all 4 of them, right? Deliver for our sailors and Marines, right? Get our pivot speed up, get our agility up, drive costs out, right? And think about developing talent. How do we attract it? How do we train it? How do we retain it? Right? How do we leverage it so that we can do what the National Defense Strategy says, what the nation needs, right? Compete and win. We've got all the raw material. We got huge competitive advantage. It's our challenge as leaders to leverage all that for the nation. It's a dangerous time out there. We just lost 2 more special operators I saw this week. Lost 1 last week. There are folks out there every night doing the nation's bidding, relying on us to be doing everything we can to help them, protect them, have mission success, and then come home, see our families. Thanks for all you do for our Navy. I appreciate all of it. Have a great show. Thank you.
So Secretary Geurts, on behalf of SENEDIA, I'd like to present to you this coin, and thank you so much for your remarks and for your attendance here.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, good. Bar's open.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Wes. Just one last thing, one final point. The bar is open. One final point. Again, I did some recognitions at the beginning, and I always get in trouble by leaving people out and missing some folks. But as I look around the room, I see at least 3 members of Governor Raimondo's cabinet here today. So I just want to take one quick second and recognize Kasim Yan, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Scott Jensen, the Secretary of Labor and Training, and Brenda Dan Messier, the Commissioner of Post-Secondary Education. Thank you all for being here as well. Bar's open. I'll see you guys all in a bit. Thank you.